What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. We have our information now, as you can see here, the special animation and the details for the brand new batch, including the female Law and BEPO, and now the brand new Kid and Killer. It is confirmed that these two new Sugofest exclusives are double characters, dual units, and they're going to be debuting on April 27th, I believe it was, right at the end of the video. It actually does mention it. Yeah, April 27th is when it's going to be debuting. So this is interesting. It's interesting though because for multiple reasons, but this banner feels like one of the most polarizing banners I have seen in a while. Like, there's a whole group of people that absolutely love that female Law is getting a legend, and then there's a whole other group of people that despise the fact that Law is getting a female legend. I'm in the camp of thinking it's pretty cool, in all honesty. Though Kid and Killer just feel very out of place. Like, I understand with the whole, like, you know, you get, like, the different, you know, Law and then Kid, you know, they're rivals and stuff. I understand it, but the batch doesn't make a whole lot of sense. In terms of the other rare recruits, though, Sachi Penguin are going to be one. You also have John Bart, and then Hakugan, who's actually getting his first unit in Treasure Cruise, which is pretty dope. But Kid and Kill are just very out of place. I don't understand why they decided to give this unit a Sugofest exclusive, but it is what it is. But this is the first dual unit in the game for Kid and Killer, so I guess that's kind of a positive. We're over here, though, on the tweet that they just went up for the actual details for Law and Kid, so we're going to go ahead and break down this unit, give a bit of a rundown, and see if this character is actually good. So, we have Law and BEPO being Cerebral Slasher. Law is Int, BEPO is Dex. I assume BEPO is probably Cerebral Fighter, and then Law Cerebral Slasher combined form is Cerebral Slasher. This character does have Super Tandem as well, which is interesting to see. 14 turn cooldown is pretty high, so let's see what this character is capable of doing. Let's go through the captain ability first. So this character's captain ability will give -1 cooldown at the start of the quest, pretty stock standard, boosting Dex, Int, and Cerebral HP by 1.2, 5.5 attack, boost their attack by 6 times when you have 80% or more HP. So that's kind of an interesting one. You know, if Rush Sugo Special becomes more and more prevalent, this captain ability is probably not that great, because obviously Rush reduces your HP, but I think, like, normally speaking, 5.5 will get you through pretty much most content. 6 times attack is obviously very high, but being at 80% or above is actually pretty difficult to do, you'll find, in a lot of content. It also makes Dex Int Tandem beneficial. It's really good. 15% damage reduction. 5,000 healing at the end of the turn is really, really strong. But of course, with the anti-healing debuff that is a thing in the game, the thing that converts any healing into damage, you would want to avoid using this guy as a captain due to that. So we'll see if that's going to be a common debuff moving forward. It has been in some random pieces of content over the last couple months, so it is kind of annoying, but either way. Resisting 10 turns of special reverse is very good, so we love to see utility within that captain effect. And then if a character's normal attack is effective against the enemy's type, so if you hit with super effective damage, then that character gets a guaranteed tandem slot in the next turn. It then says tapping on this character with a tandem slot will allow the crew's base attack boosts to be further increased up to 2 times and further increase the boost by 300. So what this means is, this is the same wording that we got from the Vegapunk legend. What this means is that if you tap with a tandem slot, it will basically allow your base attack boosts to be, like, double buffed. Which means if you have, like, 2 of these characters as both of your captains, then you tap with 1 unit to get a 300 base boost, you tap with another one to get another 300 base boost, so 600 base boost is incredibly strong. Or if you have a crewmate ability that can trigger that as well, that will also work. So captain ability wise, I mean, it's pretty good. This is a good captain ability. You got to remember though, this is a dual unit, and I've already read a little bit about what this character does, and the way that you kind of have to use this unit, I think, is going to be a bit finicky, but overall, captain ability wise is pretty good. Let's have a look at the Law and BEPO special. So, unfortunately, when I first read this, I was so disappointed. Launching special as a double character will have a stronger effect. I absolutely despise dual units that are structured this way, because it means that you don't get the full benefit unless if you go out of your way to get their super switch, and typically characters that do this will have a very high gauge of super swap. So I'm not very happy about this. But if you do get this character with the super swap to combine them with their swap effect, then you get this special to reduce Despair Recovery Bind and Bind Ship ability by 7, 30,000 heal, boost damage dealt to defense down by 2.5 for 2 turns, and then boost Dex Int and Cerebral base attack for 2 turns based on the number of status effects that are applied on the crew. So we need to see exactly how this is going to happen, because through order of operations, if you activate the special ability, will it count this conditional boost that Law and BEPO have into how many buffs you currently have? I assume that it's based on the amount of buffs before you launch the special, but if this is based on the effects that this special can also give you, then this will actually be a lot better. But at a bare minimum, you're getting 1250, 1500 if you have 4 to 6 effects. If you have 7 to 9 buffs on your crew, 1750. But if you have 10 or more buffs on your crew, it's a 2000 base attack boost for 2 turns. And remember, with Law's Captain ability, you can potentially get that to even higher levels. It then says, after that, extend the duration of the crew's conditional boosts by 1 turn and further boost the effect by 0.3. And extend the effect of the base attack boost by 1 and give it a 500 boost. And then it says effect applies to the damage dealt with a specific status and base attack from this special. So when it says after that, I believe that means it's like on the turn after you get it, or because the way that this is kind of worded, it makes it seem like when you use the special ability, the conditional boost actually lasts for 3 turns, not 2 turns. And then it also get a 500 base attack boost just whenever you use the special. So it means that at a bare minimum, you're actually getting 1,750 base attack boost, but could potentially go to 2,500 base attack boost. Just judging from the wording here, it seems interesting, but okay, if you got to think about it, right? If you really break it down, the utility of this character, Despair Removal obviously is good. Bind Ship and Recovery Bind, very unique buffs or debuffs that are rarely ever applied to your crew, so I think this is kind of whatever. Healing is good. Conditional boost is good. The base attack boost, you gotta remember, base attack boost is one of the least important buffs in the game. The amount of damage that base attack gives you compared to some of the other buffs in the game is quite minimal. But this, I will say, this is like probably the best base attack boosting special in the game. But even then, it doesn't get me that excited. But let's go ahead and have a look at the rest of the kit and see if things change. We have this crewmate ability that says makes tandem slots matching, and this character's tandem slot is carried over to the next turn if you hit it perfect. That's actually a really good crewmate ability. The secondary one says if you tap with tandem, then it will further boost the base attack by 300, and considering you can continuously tap perfect and keep that slot, it does seem very good. Now we can have a look at the switch effect. So 6 swaps to get the super switch, which is a little bit more respectable than I was expecting, because a lot of characters that have to, you know, use the super switch to get to their dual form, it's like 7, 8, 9 swaps or whatever. 6 is definitely not, it's okay. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but 6 is annoying. So the normal switch just gives you -1 to attack down, which is good. Dex, Int, and Cerebral characters get a 1.5 attack boost that can be overwritten. It's always nice. 1500 heal at the end of the turn for 1 turn. And then also reduce all enemies' defense by 50% for 1 turn. So reducing defense with a switch, I think, is actually kind of nice. No matching slots when you use the switch effect though, but being able to just remove attack down by 1 passively every single turn is really strong. So I kind of dig that. But if you use the super switch, this is probably the longest wording of a super switch we've ever seen. So first of all, 3 turns of attack down removal. Dex, Int, Cerebral, 2 times attack for 1 turn that can be overwritten. Further increases your crew's attack boost by 0.25. And it also applies to the buff from the switch effect. So it's actually a 2.25 overrideable Dex, Int, Cerebral attack. 5000 heal for 1 turn. Reduce all enemies' defense by 80% that ignores immunities for 1 turn. After 1 turn has passed, reduce all enemies' defense by 80% that also bypasses defense, and then you can combine for 3 turns. This is an incredible super switch effect. The fact that you get so many buffs, like you get utility and attack down removal, very good attack buff, end of turn healing, but the big thing defense down through immunity, which can help trigger his special ability, as we know, granting a conditional boost. It's like a 2.5 conditional boost for 3 turns. Of course, you can have that super switch. You'd super switch on the turn prior, on like stage 4 of a fight. The defense goes through, the immunity, the conditional boost from law lasts for 3 turns, and then after 1 turn has passed, you move on to the next stage. It will also trigger again to get another defense down to allow this conditional boost to continue. This is giving me a lot of vibes of when Versus Shanks came out, like Whitebeard vs Shanks. That Versus Shanks had like a Versus effect that was kind of similar, where he could apply like defense down over multiple stages. So this is giving me kind of vibes of that. It's a very good super switch. Definitely one of the better super switches we've seen in the game's history, for sure. This is a very, very strong effect that we're looking at here. Now we go to Super Tandem. So hopefully this is good. I'm hoping this is good. So you have to beat the final battle when there's 2 of the listed characters. So you've got Luffy Kid, John Bart, one of his crewmates, Corazon, and it says, or Cerebral characters. Okay, so you have any 2 of those units, or you could have any one of these units and a Cerebral character count. So I love that. It definitely just adds to team building. And then it says you need to have one of the following. So yeah, Luffy, Kid, Bart, Sachi Penguin, Hakugan, or Corazon. Okay, so the condition is respectable. No issues with that, honestly. Hopefully the effect is good. 2.25 tandem attack for Dex in Cerebral, and then reduces damage taken by 60%. Dude, that is a very boring super tandem effect. I was definitely expecting a lot more from that super tandem. So I guess as a quick rundown, captain ability is very good. Special ability is a little wonky. I would love to see what the base special is before they become their dual form, but special ability is okay. Switch effects, I'm a big fan of. Crewmate abilities are good. Super Tandem definitely could have been better, but this is going to be an end-of-month legend, which means it's one of these units you can just pull lots of copies of over the extended period of time. They're going to be available on normal red tickets after their banner concludes. So it means that getting this character, they're going to be boosted on a lot of banners, very similar to how Super Tandem Law, Super Tandem Kid came out a couple years back, and like those characters have been reran on so many banners that eventually getting this maxed out is going to be a really nice addition to certain teams. So I guess with all of that, let's go ahead and move on to their Rumble stuff. So in Rumble, they're dual units, remember, so they're not going to be having any kind of color. They're not going to be representing a color. They're only going to be Cerebral and Slasher, but Cerebral kind of needs some more support in Rumble. So let's see. It's a 34 CT, and I just noticed that they're a recovery style unit, so I don't know how good this is going to be. So their special is 34 CT, pretty high. It gives 2 teammates with low HP 1000 interval auto healing for 30 seconds. I'm not too sure on the mathematics behind the interval auto healing. I don't know if this is good, but this sounds good if this is lasting for 30 seconds. And then when 6 or more Cerebral characters are on the team, targets enemies in a large range for a 4 times damage. Okay, pretty good for a recovery style unit. And then when 6 or more Slasher characters are on the team, you get a 4 times recovery heal. This is very interesting. So you can use this character in a Slasher team for healing, but then if you have the Cerebral team, you get damage. Now, I will admit that this probably should have been flipped, at least thematically for the classes, but I will say Slashers do not need any help in terms of damage, and Cerebral do. So I like the fact that they have done this. So if you run this character on a Cerebral team, which is probably the best place to use a character such as this, you're getting pretty good buffs out of it. But I am a little concerned about seeing this. I really hope they didn't screw up the crewmate ability where like Cerebrals get this, Slashers get this. Let's see what they've done. Okay, they've just given it to both. That's fantastic. Slasher Cerebral get 5 attack, 5 health, 5 recovery, 3 defense. That's a very, very good crewmate ability. Rumble ability, should I say. Very, very good. And then they also have Grand Party, so you have to take 30,000 damage, and you can use it 4 times. Slasher Cerebral teammates get the same thing, 1,000 HP interval auto healing for 30 seconds, and then one teammate with low HP gets 8,000 healing. This is a pretty bad effect. You're not going to be using this. Offensive abilities are definitely more favored in Grand Party. And then they give buffs to Slasher, Cerebral, and Int. I think this is going to be a pretty cool character. I don't know how good this is going to be, though. Cerebral, as I said, is not the greatest in Rumble. But, you know, you've got some pretty good units. You've got Uta, you've got Robin and Koala. You've got the Vegapunk stuff, obviously, like all the random Vegapunk. So I do think this has potential to be good, but I do still think Cerebral need a little more to make them a bit more potent in Rumble. But that's the breakdown of Trafalgar Law and BEPO. I think that they're pretty good. I don't know if I'm really like gonna go crazy to try and pull these units. I might throw a couple of multis at the banner, but I will say that I think this is a pretty good skippable banner so far. I have not read what Law and or what Kid and Killer do yet, but after reading this, I can definitely say that, you know, this is a banner that you can definitely skip. Pull this character later on down the line. Of course, this character is going to be good in recent content coming up, but let's be real here. Anniversary is where you want to be saving your rainbow gems. But that's going to wrap it up for me for this one. I'm going to upload another video talking about Kid and Killer once that information has gone live. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.